Hi, hello, welcome back. Today we are talking about my 2025 5-star reads and some honorable mentions whilst I get ready. What am I getting ready for? Absolutely nothing. I just felt like doing some makeup, maybe a little monochromatic moment with my cute little sweater and talking about books. So let's get into it. I have them all written down right here. I've got five 5-star reads, and those are the only 5-star reads that I have for the year of 2025. I read 67 books. I read 67 books in 2025, and only 5 of them were 5-star reads for me. It was a rough year for reading. I made my book challenge, my reading challenge, mainly because I am still working my way through the Animorphs series. Do you remember the Animorphs? They're literally from the 90s, about this group of kids that discover an alien who gives them morphing power to become any animal or being or, thing whose DNA they acquire. And they're fighting another alien invasion, this, that. So, there are 52 books. They are middle grade books, so they read very quickly. I've been listening to them on audio, and I think I finished at book 37 out of 52. So, I'm not gonna lie, I've been reading the Animorphs, listening to the Animorphs for about 2 years now. I think I started in 2023. And I think I listened to probably 10 or 15 this year. And I only have 10 or 12 left, if that. So I'm hoping to finish in 2026. But that is why my account got to be so high, is because 10 of them were Animorph books, because they only take 2.5, 3 hours to listen to. So that's one of the reasons why my account was so high. Talking about makeup real fast, I did the Jelly Pop Elf Primer. This is almost gone. And I'm going to use this Revolution Skin Silk Luminous Serum Foundation. One of the ones that I'm trying to pan. So yeah, 67 books. A lot of them were Animorphs. And out of all of those, and I don't rate the Animorph ones. I don't know why, I just don't. I just listen to them and check them off, and I'm enjoying them. But out of those 67 books, only 5 of them I gave 5-star ratings. There was a time, I don't even remember when it was, but I was in a huge book slump, and I started and stopped a lot of books, and I did not read books. That was in I think September and October. I just had a really bad book slump. So it was a trying year, to say the least. But let's talk about some of these 5-star reads. I'm going to try my best to put a little graphic of the books right here so you can see the cover. And let's dive into my first 5-star read, which was From Here to the Great Unknown, Lisa Marie Presley and Riley Keough. So I am a huge Elvis fan. I've loved Elvis for a long time. Actually had an emotional breakdown, I think it was last year, or early in 2025, where I just went down a Elvis rabbit hole. And I got so sad. I was just I'll never be able to see him live, and people aren't gonna know his music soon. Maybe, hopefully not. Hopefully his legacy lives on. But Lisa Marie Presley's memoir came out shortly after she died, and her daughter helped her write it, I guess. I don't really know. It was a very sad book, a very illuminating book about Lisa Marie Presley's life. She had a very hard life, very sad life. And boy, it tugged at my heartstrings. I listened to it and absolutely would recommend listening, because Julia Roberts narrates as Lisa Marie, and Riley Keough who is her daughter, has like interstitial chapters like reflecting on what her mom had just written or said or whatever. And there's original audio recording of Lisa Marie Presley for some of the chapters. Honestly, just a very well done audiobook. And if you like Elvis, would recommend for that little insight into his daughter's life. So that was the first 5-star read of the year for me. And it was hard to kind of jump into anything else right there. It did leave me kind of like emotionally raw. I felt really sad afterwards. So it took me a minute to get back into reading, I remember. And yeah, my second 5-star read of the 2025 was Accidentally on Purpose by Kristen Kish. Kristen Kish is a chef, a celebrity chef, if you will. And she won Top Chef, I want to say season 10 or something like that. Top Chef Seattle. And I actually saw her for the first time on Iron Chef, the new Iron Chef that came back on Netflix. And she was co-hosting with Alton Brown. And I just kind of like fell in love with her. I just think she's like kind of the coolest. And then I saw her season on Top Chef because I binged a bunch of Top Chef seasons. And saw that she was coming out with a memoir. It was on my wish list for a long time. And I requested my library to buy it, and they did. And so I listened to it, and she read it, which I always love. Did I listen to it? No, I read it. I read it on my Kindle. And she writes how she talks, so I could hear her voice. That's why I thought I listened to it. It's just cool, like, learning where people come from and how she got her start into cooking and all that jazz. And I just really, really liked it. So if you're a fan of celebrity chefs and cooking in general and memoirs, highly recommend that one. I just went in with Contour with the CoverGirl True Blend Skin Enhanced Contour Balm. Can 2026 be the year that things don't have 57 titles to them and names? And this is a Super Shock highlight from ColourPop Flexitarian, OG classic. I'm going to try to pan it this year. I don't know how close I am to getting pan, but I feel like I'm close. And it's one of the I only have 2 cream highlighters. This one and a Nude Sticks one. So I feel like I could pan one of them, maybe. Third on the list was The Rachel Incident by Caroline O'Donoghue. This was a really good book. And it's kind of one of those stories of like, I don't want to say that she was unlikable, because she was very likable, but it was just kind of one of those like, not quite coming of age, but like, ooh, let's go real blushy today. Kind of slice of life. She's figuring things out. She gets into some trouble and with her best friend and a married man, and it was just like very compelling, a very compelling read. I remember reading it pretty quick, and I remember closing the book and being like, damn, like that was a good book. It was set, I want to say it was set in New York, but it also, yeah, it was set in New York, and so I just loved the setting as well. And was it set? I don't think it was set in modern day. I think it was set, yeah. It was set in the past, and so it was like the 90s, New York in the 90s, I believe. And then it was like a flash forward every now and then to present day, wherever present day was. So she was kind of like reminiscing and reliving this summer that she had, or year she had. What was it called? The Rachel Incident. Yeah. Oh, kind of like a mistaken identity. Someone thought she was someone else, and she thought someone was someone else. I'm not describing it very well, but it's a very good book. And yeah, like I said, I just kind of kept thinking about it. So those are the cream products. Jumping all over the place here. Again, I don't really need to do all of these steps, but I don't know how not to, so I'm going to go in with my Milani bronzer. Bronze up a little bit. And I remember for that, the Rachel incident, I couldn't put it down. Like, I just wanted to keep reading it. I needed to know what happened next. And that to me is a good book. There's a lot of books I read that I just, like, not read to read, but I'm like, all right, this is a stopping point. Like, I'm going to stop right here. With the Rachel incident, I wanted to keep reading it. I needed to know what happened. I wanted to keep following the story, so I had a hard time putting it down. And that, to me, is the sign of a 5-star read. I'm going to go in with this Moira highlighter in Dreamlight. The next 5-star read I had was The Storybook Ending by Moira McDonald. And part of me is like, why did I give this a 5-star read? It was such a almost cliche rom-com, and I think I know why I liked it, because it had the tropes, but not in the ways that I always hate them. So it's a story about a girl who works in a bookstore. Or no, I'm sorry. A girl who, her husband died. She has a kid. She's like trying to get back out there. Oh, I was like, did I just, oh, anyway. And she goes to this bookstore and is really liking this guy that works there. And so she decides to like slip him a note. He does the used books, so he like checks them in and like decides if he needs them or not. So he always flips through them. So she knows that he would find the note that she leaves, and basically was just like, I think you're cute, we should meet, you know, meet me here. And he does not get it. Somebody else gets it. And so it just is just like another mistaken identity sort of thing. They're filming a movie there. It's just a very sweet, cute rom-com book. And I'm not usually a big fan of rom-com books. I love the movies. I love the predictability. And this one was predictable in all of the right ways without it being overbearing. It's a lot of different types of characters, and some of them really were just like, ugh, you know, but in the best way. The owner of the bookstore was just like this OCD tyrant about her bookshop being used in this movie, which she had like different aspirations for, and found out that it was in fact not going to be great, and cut into her sales and this, that. But it was just such a cute book, and it was again one of those things where I wanted to keep reading. I didn't want to stop the story. I had to figure out where it was going. And yeah, that was a library book. I remember checking that out from the library just because it looked cute, and I didn't think I was actually going to read it. Sometimes I like to just check books out from the library and just so, like, you know, get circulation numbers up and whatnot. But I thoroughly enjoyed that book. It was amazing. 10 out of 10, would recommend. That's why I gave it 5 stars. I'm going to go in with my Scooby-Doo. It's a good purple palette, and it has some blue in there too, like my shirt does. So I think this is a perfect palette for this sweater, for this monochromatic moment. Next on my list is, oh, and the last one is Wayward by Amelia Hart. This was a recommendation to me from my friend Crystal and Alex, and it was a story set across generations. It was like 3 generations of the same family of women who are witches. And one was set in like the 1600s, one was in the 1940s, and then in like 2019. And again, just captivating. Like, I just needed to know where the story was going. I loved how it spanned across, and how we kind of know they're all related, but we also don't know they're all related, and we don't know the outcomes until the end. And I went back and forth between these 3 storylines, being like, I only care about this one, and that's what I really want to what I want to read. And I just had to get through the next 2 women to get back to this one, because it kind of went that way. It was 1, 2, 3. And then something would happen, I'd be like, oh, now I really care about this one. So I think that was just great storytelling, great writing to keep me captivated on all three sides at very different times. And yeah, so if you like very atmospheric and witchy and beautiful writing, I think you would love that book. 10 out of 10 would recommend. And those were my 5-star reads. Again, I didn't have too many, and I'm really hoping to have a better reading year in general. Oh, I forget how much I like this palette, but how unpurple it is. Like, all of this pulls like red and pink to me, but that's okay. The shimmers will save it. The shimmers will save it. I think I'm gonna do green and blue underneath. So those were my 5-star reads, but I wanted to talk about some honorable mentions that weren't quite 5 stars, but they stuck with me and I think about them still. And the first one, surprisingly not a 5-star, was Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I didn't necessarily talk about it a lot last year because, again, I'm trying to build up the bookish part of Beautybrarian. But I've loved everything Taylor Jenkins Reid has ever written. That did not change with Atmosphere. I loved it. It was phenomenal. A great, 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 great book. And I couldn't even tell you what was lacking to make it not a 5-star, but something was. And so I did. I gave it 4.5. 4.5, so close. But it was a beautiful story. I loved the space aspect. I love that it was set, again, in the 80s and 90s. Just kind of darkening this up just a little bit. And I just loved the story altogether, but I think at one point, like, it just kind of dragged, and I didn't pick it back up for a while. Like, it didn't take me long to read, but it took me longer because there was, like, a good weekend where I was like, I could read, but I didn't. So I think that's why I didn't give it 5 stars. But if you like Taylor Jenkins Reid, every book has been amazing for you, this one will be too, and you should read it if you have not already. So honorable mention in that it's definitely worth reading. And it might even be a 5-star for you. Oh, these are very different. Put too much on this side. Oh well. Oh, I like this one better. A little blending. It's okay. Shimmer will save us. Another honorable mention is a book called Pizza Girl by Jean Young Fraser. This book was weird. It was a weird book. It's about a young girl who gets pregnant and works at a pizza store, like a pizza place, and has like this encounter with a single mom whose kid wants like pickles on pizza, and they don't do that. So she goes to the store and buys pickles to make this pickle pizza. And it just, like, the mom was like, that's amazing, you're amazing, thank you so much. And this girl becomes like obsessed with this woman while she's pregnant, and also does very dangerous things while being pregnant, such as drinking beer every night. She's a very confused and lost little girl who is pregnant, and her boyfriend is just trying to do right by her. Her family, she was like a first generation American, and her parents were, or her mom, I can't remember if she was Chinese or Japanese or some sort of Asian. I really can't remember at this moment. But, you know, her mom came there to have a better life, fell in love with a man, had a baby. He died, so she was a single mom. And just like that overbearingness of being first generation, parents not understanding, all of that, like generational trauma, teen pregnancies, very bad decision making. And the book ends in like this wild way where that lady that had called for the pickle pizza had moved, and this girl like hunted her down and drove. This was also set in California. I want to say it was set in Bakersfield, which is wild. Or maybe it was in Northern California. Yeah, it was in Northern California or LA. okay, I'm sorry. It was set in LA, not Northern California, and the woman moved to Bakersfield. And so this girl like drove to Bakersfield one night, fully pregnant and drunk, and like broke into this woman's house and then fled and then got into a car accident and like was in a coma, and just like, it was just wild. I literally like on the edge of my seat with this story, could not stop. I was listening to it. Remember I was in an airport and I was sitting there at the restaurant and I was just like, what is happening? What is this story? And it was just a wild ride. I won't tell you the ending. That wasn't the end, but it was close to the end. And it was just a wild story. And so that was my weirdest read of the year. And I still think about it sometimes. I'll like be doing something. I'll be like, remember that book? Here's all those shimmers. I'm trying to decide what I want to do. I actually really like all of these shimmers. I think I'm going to go with the teal, this one right here, and then add some of this navy. So that was like, yeah, that was the weirdest read, and would recommend if you want to read an unhinged book about a teenage pregnant girl who works at a pizza store. And shenanigans ensue. Another honorable mention, that teal, so pretty. Another honorable mention was I revisited a book from my childhood called His Dark Materials, Philip Pullman's The Golden Compass. And boy, that book sure holds up. What a great book. I remember reading it. I wasn't like a child, but I was a teenager. And I don't know, 13, 14, something like that. Barely a teen, I guess. Oh, this is pretty. I don't know why, it makes me think of Barbie. And it's a science fiction, fantasy, otherworldly, little girl coming of age adventure story. And it's so good. I couldn't put it down. Even rereading it and just revisiting things, and just like, there's so much that I remembered about that book. But also a lot of things that I didn't. And so it was just so cool to relive it and be like, oh yeah, this happened and this happened. But it's a part of a trilogy. And there were parts of it that I was just like, but what about this? What about that? It's in the other book, which I have started. But it's kind of like one of the books I just keep picking up and putting down. I don't know why. I just haven't gotten it far enough into it. The second book is called The Subtle Knife. And I know if I get past like the pages that I'm in, it'll like really kick off and I'll be like obsessed with it. And I just haven't done it yet. So yeah, I revisited that book. So here's your sign to read books that you read as a child or a young adult. Revisit them, see how they hit as an adult. I did that with one of my other favorite books called White Oleander. Actually, I read that book many times as an adult, but it's just interesting every time you read it, like you get something different from it. And I am currently rereading, oh, I didn't do the lower. I'm currently rereading my favorite book of all time called The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. It's such a beautiful story. God, I love that book so much. I am already almost done with it, and I started it like 2 or 3 days ago, and it's, again, a book that I just can't put down. It's so magical and romantic and beautiful. The writing is amazing. And so this book came out in like, I think 2011, and I think I've read it 6 or 7 times, and every time I learn something new, I see something different. This year, I'm paying more attention to the dates because it spans a long time, and you're kind of going back and forth in the storyline with the circus and a kid named Bailey, and eventually they all kind of fuse together, but I've just been really keeping track of the dates as they are being listed. And so that to me is, you know, showing me a different side of the story, because like I didn't always pay attention to when things were happening, only where they were happening. So it's just adding a little something something to this reread. So yeah, reread the books you read as a kid. I betcha you'll either appreciate it differently or better, or learn something new, or enjoy it even more. I doubt you won't like it. You liked it as a kid for a reason. You're going to love it as an adult. Just mixing the two greens. My eyes are a little watery already. What else is new? And then, like I said, this was a rough year for me reading, and I had 9 unfinished books. Picked up, did not finish. DNF'd. DNF'd 9 books. And some of them I feel like were for good reason. And some of them I feel like I need to go back and revisit. Actually, there's only one of those. But those books are Rogue by Mona Awad. She's the one who wrote Bunny, and I didn't like Bunny. But I thought this book sounded really interesting. It was about a woman whose mom died, and she was French, and she had like, it's about like skincare, but like trying to remain youthful, and the pull that like society has on women looking young and being young, and the lengths that people would go through to do it, and be it. Very compelling and interesting story. I was so bored. I didn't know what was going on half the time because I couldn't remember what was happening because it was so boring. So I didn't finish it. And I think I probably will not read any more Mona Awad books because I never liked any of them that I've read. I'm a Fan by Sheena Patel. I remember reading this in a hotel. I was just like, oh, this looks good. And I liked the premise of it. It was, I don't know, something about like a ex-boyfriend or girlfriend and either like moving on or trying to get him back or something like that. Told a lot through like emails and text messages. And so I thought that was really cool. But I just remember kind of like slogging through it and being like, I don't know if I'm getting this. But I do want to revisit it. I feel like it was a cool book that I want to try again. The Girls by Emma Cline. This was a true crime-ish about Manson murders and the girls that were in it. And again, seemed very compelling. Oh, but just so boring. I like tried to read that like 3 times. And I was just like, get to the point. And so I stopped reading it. If I'm that unhappy reading it, I'm not gonna like it. Crush by Ada Calhoun. This was the most cringy book and so hard to read. This character was unhinged and not in a good way. And it was basically she was having this like emotional affair with this man that she was writing letters to and texting and emailing, and it was just unbearable. These characters were unbearable. I don't know if it ever got to a point. Oh, I forgot eyeliner. I don't know if it ever got to a point where she was like, I don't know. She seemed like in a psychotic state. And I just learned what like ADHD limerence is, about being obsessed with someone. And that is what like shapes your relationship, is like your obsession. That's what this felt like, in not a good way. Not that I think ADHD limerence is a good thing. It might be. I don't really know. I don't really know if I understand it still. But again, the book sounded compelling and interesting, and it did not deliver. Would not recommend. And then I read Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Q. Sutano. I wanted to like this book, and my book club was doing it. But I just found it to be... I didn't like how they portrayed the lady. She was like 60, and they made her seem like a bumbling fool. Like she was so old and incompetent. And I never finished it, so I don't know if she like was like, ha ha ha, it was all an act or whatever. But she seemed very meddling and clueless, and the people around her were no better. And I didn't even care about the murder at that point. Like I wanted to know what happened and how it all connected, but I didn't care enough, so. Library of the Dead. I was listening to this. It was very interesting, but the accent, it was like an Irish accent or something, was very hard to understand. And I just also have a problem with some of these stories that, I don't know if this was like a young adult book or something, but the main character was young, like a young teenager, like 13, 14, 15 or something like that. And I just have a hard time listening to kids being put in these situations, and that's what made me stop it. But the premise was really cool. She could like talk to ghosts and figure things out and help people move on and help families come to have closure and things like that. So it was really interesting. I just needed them to be older. I just needed them to be adults. And there was something about a library. I never even got to the library part. Some sort of secret society, but Homesick for Another World by Otessa Moshfegh. She's the one who wrote My Year of Rest and Relaxation, which is an amazing book. And I think she wrote Shrapnova and Eileen. And I remember hearing that Shrapnova was absolutely gruesome and grotesque, which she like is known for, as being like a grotesque writer. And Home for Another World was a short story collection, and they were disgusting. Like, I had a hard time getting past the imagery of some of these things. It was just bad people doing bad things, being disgusting and looking disgusting and acting disgusting. And it was just, it honestly like made my stomach turn, which that's pretty good writing to elicit such a reaction, but I couldn't, even for short stories, I just couldn't handle it. I was like, I'll just skip this one. I'll just skip this one. I skipped the whole book because they were all gross. So not for me, not my cup of tea, but I do appreciate that she can elicit that response. How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kang. This was just a rom-com romance that had all of my least favorite tropes, the non-communication, it pissed me off. Mostly the non-communication trope. Just talk to each other. Just tell you. And it also did that thing where it was like something really, really bad happened, and they keep alluding to it, but they won't ever tell you what that really, really bad thing is, but it shapes everything, but you don't know what it is, and they won't tell you until the very, very end. And it's just like, I don't know, that bothers me. I don't have time for that. So yeah, that one was merely because I did not like the tropes being used. And then We Came to Welcome You by Vincent Torrado. Let me find a lipstick. Ooh, I do like how this turned out. Is it basic? Yeah. Should I have gone more big? Probably. You know what? I can do one thing. What was that bigger? Just putting some shimmer under my eyes. She does it in blue to make it look more tired. Let me find a lipstick. I'm going to do something dark. I have this Sephora collection. I actually don't know what the shade is. Oh, 29. Shade 29. Yeah, the last book that I DNF'd was We Came to Welcome You by Vincent Torrado. I liked the concept of this story. It was about these two people of color who move into a gated community where they're clearly not welcome. Shit's going down. Bad things are happening. But I found it to be so repetitive. Like, every situation cool. Every situation was stated and then reiterated, not even in a different way. And it just, the story was crawling along because she would live it, and then she would go back over it in her head. Did I really go through that? And then she would like tell her partner, and her partner wouldn't believe her. And then like she would have some sort of like nightmare dream that would reiterate what she just went through. It was just too much. I was like, can we get to the point here? So I didn't finish that one. And I probably read not quite half of it, but I was slogging through it. I was like, I'm gonna see it through. I'm really interested. I want to know what's going to happen. I didn't care that much. I didn't. So I didn't. So that's like a little recap of my 2025 reading, my 5-star reads, my honorable mentions, and my DNFs. Did you read any of these? Oh, actually, before I say that, honorable mention, which will probably be a forever mention at this point, if you have not read Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, you need to. The movie's coming out in, I think, April, March or April. It's gonna be so good. Project Hail Mary was the best book that I read last year, and I still think about it every day. I recommend it to everyone who will listen to me. I made my husband read it. He loved it. I made my best friend read it. I think she liked it. I'm making my sister listen to it. I think she's listening to it. It's such a good book. I mean, edge of my seat. What is going to happen? Clearly, I have a standard. Like, I need to be, I can't want to put your book down. If I can't stop reading, if I don't want to put it down, if I have to know what happens next, that's going to be a good book for me. And that was Project Hail Mary. And yes, so last honorable mention. If you haven't read that, that's what you need to read. Make that your first book of 2026. Do it. All right. That was my reading recap of 2025. Did you read any of these? Did you have any favorites? How many books did you read? How many books did you not finish? How many 5-star reads did you have? And based on the books that I've read and the things that I'm looking for, being unput-a-downable, do you have any recommendations for me? I would love to hear them. So drop them in the comment, like, subscribe, all of those things, and I will see you in the next one.